This is Political Junkeez with Brian Howie and London Thomas.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome back to Political Junkeez, the podcast for those hooked on politics. Joining me, as always, music icon, reformed liberal, evolved conservative. Even when he's wrong, he's usually right. Fighting hard out of Atlanta, London Thomas.
We're back.
Let's
do this.
And we kept her around for an encore. She was so good on the last one. I felt we had more ground to cover. She is the Las Vegas legendary nightlife queen. She knows where a lot of the bodies are buried in this town. Proud mom, Sin City Party royalty, common sense advocate. Kalika Moquin, how are you?
I'm good, Brian. Thanks for having me
And
stay.
Thanks for having me stay. That's the first time a girl ever said that to me. And I've been very excited. I wanted to have him on here ever since we started doing this podcast. He is a gossip legend. Oh. He's the longtime host of Mysteries and Scandals and a whole bunch of other stuff on E! He's the host of the Fame is a Bitch podcast. He's the world's greatest name dropper, and he absolutely knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
AJ Benza, how are you?
I'm very happy to be here, man.
You're an interesting character in that you have a very deep personal relationship with Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't always a good relationship. It was a really bad relationship, and now you're a supporter.
Now, I'm a big supporter, but at one point, we were fucking the same model, and I threatened to kill him with a baseball bat.
Oh, my gosh. That's
That
good.
was a rough day. He sued me for $10 million, as if I had that kind of money. And then I apologized, and that was a while ago, but I love the guy. I love what he's doing. I'm a complete supporter. But it is very odd to go that 180.
It is got from I hate him, but
nobody hated him more than I. Nobody.
I would say that he owes me money from back in the day, but I didn't hate him. I'm just I'm getting online with everybody else.
Yeah.
But you hate him because you loved the girl so much.
I was in love with the girl. Cara Young was a big model in New York,
Yeah,
and I got my show in L.A. in '97. I had to move, and I knew if I moved, the sharks in New York are going to go for the billionaires and millionaires. And I knew it was going to happen, and of course. He's a closer. We have to. He is and a lot of girls will go, how could you fuck him? I don't know. But he's a closer. And he got her. And then it became, I lost my mind. I couldn't see the word trumpet, triumph, anything with his...
Trump bereavement syndrome before it was a thing.
No one knew about it. I would be home. They'd be at the front row in the NBA All-Star game. They'd be in it was destroying me.
Really?
Destroying me. I was the first guy called loser.
He's a loser.
We had the big fight on the phone, and I was the first one. You're a loser, But now he calls me a winner, so I guess it's a good
So he knew who you were before this because obviously you had a very good gossip column back in the day in the New York Daily News in New York, and he used to call you.
Donald would talk. We would talk not every day. We'd talk once, twice a week. If I needed a quote, if I needed a background on a story, Donald always liked to volunteer. He loved his name in the columns. He always said it's great publicity, good business, as long as you mention billionaire Donald Trump and got the money right. If you mention he was with a girl at the ball game, as long as you put billionaire Donald Trump was with Carol Alt, he loved that. That's all he cared. You could have said that the rest of the story could have been shit, but billionaire Donald Trump plus a pretty girl was all he needed. And he was a great guy to have to call for information, background. He would drop dimes on people, easy. He's still doing it. Still doing it.
A lot of his leaks are him.
Yes. So I know all the code words and the facial tics that I know when he's lying. I know when he's, I know him. I know the guy because we were personal friends. I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been on the helicopter, the whole thing.
Was this after Marla Maples, before
Melania? We were talking before Melania because he was single. We were both single guys, and it was very normal for Donald to call and say, where'd you go last night? I was at Bowery Bar. What was the pussy like there last night? Oh, great bar, terrific. And we had all those conversations. He loves women and still does. And then he met Melania, Marla. And then I would go to Mar-a-Lago, and it was really fun. It got really weird because at one point somebody sent me nudes of Marla May. Remember Chuck Jones?
Yeah.
Chuck Jones was a publicist who was obsessed with her shoes and her feet.
Yeah.
And he took nudes of her.
Yeah.
And he sent them to me.
He was like her stalker publicist.
Big time. Real weird guy.
Weird.
And I called Donald. I said, look, I got to show you something. I got nudes of Marla. And he says, are you sure it's her? I said, it's her. And he said, send them to me. I sent them. And he goes, yeah, it's her. I owe you a favor. Then I went to Mar-a-Lago, and big party, and at the end of the night, Donald wants to go to bed, and Marla and her girlfriends want to go out, Palm Beach. So they go, AJ, let's go out. And there was a couple of drunk girls with her. And Marla is looking at this guy, the bodyguard, and I go, this bodyguard's got the hots for Marla. She goes, oh, Marla loves him, too. They're totally in love. This girl's giving me everything. I'm not doing gossip anymore. She's giving me everything. I go home that night to the hotel, or to Mar-a-Lago, and I'm walking the beach. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I see Marla and the bodyguard come out from behind a dune. Oh, and I told him about that as well. And it's a tough thing to tell a guy. And that guy was fired. Yeah. Ended up killing himself in a motel room.
Oh no!
Couldn't get work anymore. Once you fuck the billionaire's wife, no one's going to hire you to be a bodyguard anymore.
Yeah.
So that was a bit.
It's bad for the bodyguard business. Yeah.
Doesn't work. Yeah. So I was good to him. I figured like, well, he's not going to fuck my girl because I really gave him a couple of big stories for him to. Didn't matter.
Didn't care.
Beautiful girl. He's a closer and a shark.
What did you know about Donald Trump before he ran for office? Like, what did you know about him over the last 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have cable, so I never watched The Apprentice. I didn't know a whole lot about him except for, I just heard other people saying, in my mind, I kind of had this envision that he was just a spoiled rich kid from Manhattan who was given his daddy's money and, handed everything to him. And honestly, it wasn't until I watched the American Dream documentary that it really changed my view of Donald Trump. I was like, okay, first of all, his family was from the Bronx, not from Manhattan. It's from
Queens.
Queens.
Okay, Queens. If you're from New York, they're totally two different things, So for him to come to Manhattan and build the empire that he built just by being a really good negotiator, not taking no for an answer, you have to have a certain level of respect for that, whether you like the guy or not.
Did he spend a lot of Vegas time? Did he come to Vegas? Was he in the clubs?
I don't remember him being in the scene in Vegas. There's a lot of celebrities that were. I don't remember him being one of them.
He's a Florida, New York, rarely LA guy, but
I never heard of him when I was in LA.
Yeah.
Now, what did because we were talking about this before we started, that a lot of the black community, he's name checked for the rappers all the time, the athletes, like they want to be Trump rich. He would have meetings with them and sort of give them advice about him. He had a lot of support because he was brash, flashy, a lot of the stuff, ballsy. That appealed a lot. Still does.
And again, I never knew anything about the racist Donald Trump
He's
thing.
not.
I've never heard that.
The girl
he's dating a black girl.
She was black.
He should bring that up. He should be like, I used to fuck this black girl. I'm not racist.
He just seems like the type of person, he likes women.
Exactly.
He likes women.
Exactly. He asked her to marry him before Melania, and she said no. So he's not a racist. He's just he's a very abrasive. Look, when you work around concrete teamsters, iron workers, mobsters, truck drivers, you get a certain personality that Barack Obama or Joe Biden and these guys just don't have.
Yeah, they wouldn't even know anything about.
No, it's a different kind of thing.
They never had a normal. Have any of them had a normal job? That's off subject, but
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Did you, after all this went down and you found new love and he got married?
Yeah.
Did you ever talk later about that was crazy back in the day?
Yeah, I called him before he was about to run, and I was doing extra to promote my book, and they said, we got to talk about you, him, and the girl. I called him. I said, look, I got to talk about it. He goes, go ahead and talk, make your money, do your thing. And I said, look, that was fucking crazy. He said, women, we all got remarried. We all got kids from new wives. Don't worry about it. He was really cool about it, but that's the day I said to him, this is what makes me. I said, what? Look, you could do anything you want. I said, how many great summers do you think you have left in your life? You could go anywhere. Without beating an eye, he said, at least 30.
Oh.
No, this guy was 71 at that point.
Yeah.
So he's going to go to 101 at least.
Oh, my gosh.
He's eating McDonald's a couple times a day.
I said, oh, you know what? I'm voting for you, man. Just don't take shit. He goes, I never do that. And he hasn't since.
I've asked you a lot of people. I never asked you this before. Did you know Epstein at all?
No, I've been at the same parties with him, but no, I can't say I don't. It's insane I don't, but I know all the people around him except for Ghislaine, all the people, the modeling heads, the people that furnished him girls and got him to parties, but we'd been to the same functions, but no, I never knew him in that capacity, no.
But you knew Harvey?
Very well.
Weinstein.
I talked to Harvey up until he went to prison. He was very good to me. I love Harvey. I have nothing bad to say about him. I don't think.
Well, there's a few bad things to say about him.
Granted, I know. Let me rephrase that. I always said, look, if he raped one girl, he's got to do time. It's no good. I just know a lot of those stories from a lot of those girls are bullshit. A lot of them were girls. Look, you can't date a guy 7 years and call it rape. I'm sorry. You can't make him meet your mom and meet him at Cannes 2 times. Get the fuck out of here. That's not rape. That's not the rape we grew up on.
Yeah.
Hearing
The
about.
rape we grew up on. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah, you know what rape was rape. I mean, look, we all know he got laid. He's a mogul. Everybody gets laid like that. But the stories we started to hear, pushing doors in, that's disgusting. And he's doing time, which he should. But he talked to me when it was all going down, and he said, AJ, everything was consensual. He said, if I told stories about Clooney, Damon, DiCaprio, this town would fall to their knees.
But that's another thing I talked to John about. Like, if this whole Me Too thing and this whole movement were to really, really come out, there would be no Hollywood.
None.
Because it's being done. I mean, I've witnessed so much stuff
I
myself
know.
from the people.
I know
around.
1,000
It's crazy.
women, girls, actresses in Los Angeles who would fuck Harvey Weinstein tomorrow if
Still,
it meant.
still.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
a lot of women really, you know. Again, I'm not
right.
We're get all the disclosures, all the disclaimers,
Right.
whatever. But a lot of women were like, I liked the way the game was played.
Yes.
I knew what I had to do. Sharon Stone very famously was like, just tell me who I need to fuck to get the
Exactly.
part. Like, who are the ones in charge of the decision makers? And a lot of women really liked it. Now they're like, oh, I have to actually audition and I have,
Yeah.
I have to do things. You know, that's it. You've seen powerful men come into this town a lot of times. Sometimes they have an expectation. Sometimes they expect it, you know, you have the bankhead at the club and it is stocked with vodka and it is stocked with girls.
Yeah,
And that's
I've always thought it's a very gray area. It's not really a black and white situation. It's just, you know, and it's not just Hollywood. I mean, this kind of stuff was going on when I was 16 working at the movie theater. You know, like I'd walk upstairs and there's like a manager getting a blowjob behind the projector. You know, from some concessionist that wants to work the box office tomorrow. It's just, you know, it's just kind of been part of society for a really
Right.
long time, and now it's just getting spoken about. That said, I do not agree with, you know, any kind of forced penetration, I guess, for lack of better terms.
right.
But, you know, it's just
Rape.
Yeah, rape.
Yeah,
Okay,
Like
you
it's
know.
old-fashioned
Right.
rape.
Yeah.
But I know a couple of the girls.
Yeah.
So I can't even say girls because
I
people
know,
get mad
that's
at
very
that.
dangerous. Yeah.
Who are part of the core settlement
Yes.
there that I'm like,
Come on.
they used to laugh when they
I
told
know.
this story.
I
They used to be
know.
like, oh my God, I went with her. They used to brag
I
about
know,
it.
I used to hear it all the
And-
time in
and-
my circle.
And
It's
now
the
they're
same
cashing a
thing.
check.
Like,
you
That's
know?
and on the same topic, I know some women from Fox News who would contact me. Listen, there's a guy in the international section, the blah blah blah, and you know he took out his penis, and I want to sue him. I want it to be out there. And what do you think we can do? How do you think we can? Can you write the story? And I think if we do this, I can get a good payout. Tamara Holder did that. Is that her name? Tamara Holder, right? Tamara Holder. She was on Fox a bunch of times. She's a lawyer. I helped her get the story out. She won $6 million. Then she won another $3 million from her agency because they didn't. She offered me, let's have dinner. You buy the steak, I'll buy the champagne. I said, no, you got $6 million. I wrote the story. How about you buy the whole fucking dinner? She's not unhappy that she's not working right now. She's not.
One of the main women who took down Bill O'Reilly because he tried to get her to go to a hotel room. Every time I had a meeting with her, she tried to get me to go in her hot tub with her.
The blonde?
Like, it was the same thing. Yes.
I know exactly. She was like that with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Good day,
and
New York.
and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's
Yep.
the same. I'm like, what are you doing? It's the same thing.
She was doing a lot of coke
This
back
is
then.
another
That's
one
what
of
she
these
was doing.
conversations that's hard to have because there's so many sensitive feelings.
Well,
to
it's
what
hard
we're
to have.
saying, you know?
That's why, you know.
It's hard to have a serious conversation.
It was weird
about
when,
this
you know,
stuff.
Me Too, it's a very complicated thing. It's so complicated that Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano
Are beefing.
are
Yeah.
beefing
They're beefing.
because they're like, you're full of shit, you're full of shit, I was here. And a lot of the men are just like, let us know when you sort this out.
But they were on
You
the
know?
same page, right? For a while.
They were on the
Yeah.
same page.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of set was Charmed? You know? It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
even fucked
Wanna
up
see it.
back
Kissed
in
each
the
other
day.
after they left Charm.
I
Like,
know.
they didn't even want to put each other in each other's pictures.
No,
or,
no.
There was
it's
always
bad.
Rose, Alyssa,
Yeah.
and the other one.
Shannon Doherty or Holly
Shannon
Marie
Doherty,
Combs.
and then the other one,
A
Holly Marie Combs.
reboot of that show now would be great.
It would
Imagine
be.
right now with that
That'd be a
shit
great
going
idea.
on.
Bitchy witches, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever. Have you noticed any change over the last year in Vegas in the way people act or behave or any of that kind of stuff? Or is it,
It's just so much more regulated now. Just, you know.
how do they regulate it?
I mean,
that guy can't get a table just because of what? I mean, how do they regulate people getting favors, jobs? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I mean, you can't give like hugs anymore. You have to give high fives. You know, just
really?
Yeah, like you just walk in and hug your manager. You can't do that.
No,
anymore.
that's over. Yeah, no.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
just
crazy because it's not the way it is
Schools.
in
A lot of
Atlanta.
schools you can't hug.
Yeah.
Kids can't hug.
Christmas
8-year-olds can't
party
hug.
blowjobs are out.
They are out.
Done.
I
Wait,
know.
are we
Christmas-
talking about COVID or are we talking
Oh,
about Me Too?
yeah.
Which are we
Yeah,
talking
they-
Well,
about?
everything
they-
is
they-
coming
Well,
into,
no, me too.
into
Well, now
one
now
pile.
it's elbow bumps because of COVID.
They
But yeah, it was
blended
high
in.
fives last year. That
And
was the
Atlanta,
2000
can you
High
still give a
fives.
blowjob to get a
Wow.
popcorn
Believe
gig?
me, nothing's changed. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Oh, nothing's changed in Atlanta.
It's pretty much the same.
And why is that? Because it's a
Yeah, it's a
blacker
culture.
city?
Yeah, it's the culture.
What's happening, Atlanta? What's going
Well,
on?
if we're talking about nightlife,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
just talking about interaction between male and female.
Yeah. You wouldn't know
Nothing's
that
changed.
if you were gone for 5 years and you
would
came
not
back.
Oh,
know
so it's
the
still going on.
difference.
It's still-
Same,
oh,
still
that's
thing-
Everybody
still
needs to
thing
move
going
to
on.
Atlanta.
As a matter of fact, the hip hop clubs in Atlanta, I'm in an open format, so I do pop, mainstream clubs. The hip hop clubs are record numbers right now.
Wow.
Girls are making $1,800 a night.
Wow. I knew it
The
was
cocktail
Atlanta.
waitresses.
Well,
Seriously,
look,
like-
the number one song is "Wet Ass Pussy."
It is. I know.
how
That's
far-
why either
Yeah.
I feel old or
Yeah.
I feel. I'm like, who's listening to that? I mean, the kids
Oh,
are.
I
listening.
love the song.
I love the song, but I'm
Right.
talking about as a
Women-
kid.
No,
as a kid.
women love it.
Women, I have to play the song. I get requested that song 10 times a night. And women
Yes.
just start, it's
They-
crazy.
Oh.
They're
Yeah,
like,
how do women request that song? Do they come up to you and yell that they want to hear
I want to
that?
hear my favorite song.
Go
Oh,
on
can you play my
TikTok.
favorite song?
On
Can you play
TikTok
that
right now,
song?
TikTok, there's
And then they're
a
all-
million girls
it's-
doing the wet ass pussy
Well,
dance.
they're doing the dance.
Props to the women, girls, females, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, who are basically saying we still want to use sex. We want to be in control of it.
That's
this time.
true.
I agree.
You know, I
with
know
that.
I
plenty
got
of.
no problem
I
with
know
it.
a few
Yeah.
women who have worked on Wall Street and then they worked in strip clubs and they're like, I feel far more empowered in
Yes.
strip club
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm in control. I'm taking the money here. I don't, the old
Yeah.
school
That's a good
hedge
point.
fund thing. You know, speaking of making money off this. OnlyFans, are you familiar?
Oh, this
People
is
out
great.
there.
This is great.
OnlyFans now is for women to girls, whatever, to make money with content that you probably couldn't do on Instagram. It's sort of private, monetized
Yeah.
content. A
Yeah.
lot of it is risque.
Yeah.
And this week, it sort of went to a higher level because
Bella.
Bella Thorne,
Oh, man.
former Disney star, who's been pushing the sexual envelope in a lot of
Oh, yeah.
her content for a few years
I'm
now.
not familiar
She's
with
been
she's
itching to
hot.
get out.
She's a hot young girl.
And so explain what she did. Explain
Bella
what
Thorne
OnlyFans.
she's become hotter and hotter, and she's bisexual, pansexual. She's like doing everybody and everything.
She's like 21.
Very up, 22. So she started her fans only account, and in a day, she made $1 million. She gets 80% of that. So everybody joined her fans only. I said this on my show today. I said, this girl came out a year or so ago and said, I was abused from when I can't remember till I was 14, every night of my life. Didn't matter if I locked the door. Obviously, it was her father. And, just crying about being abused. But you're right. She took the power back. Now she's showing her tits and her ass on OnlyFans. Not all of it's nude, but that's like the ultimate revenge for a girl who was abused, don't you think?
For years it was like, model, like Playmate would take it, and they're like for members only, and they do these
A lot
sites
of
and sort of
Playmates do it, yeah.
They do it, but what OnlyFans has done has made it sort of mainstream.
the average girl can
for
do it.
the
The girl
average
next door-
girl
Any
does
girl
it.
could do
The
it.
hot, cute girl next door now can be.
Any girl. What
A closet
fascinates me,
porn
I
star.
just got on TikTok. My kids are doing. I said, let me see this TikTok thing, and I started going on it, and I have a different algorithm, whatever. I'm liking different types of things than they are. So I go, what's with all these hot girls? And they're doing these videos, and at the bottom of their video is their PayPal account, their Venmo number, their Zelle number. They're just getting money from guys.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
once you get a client or a friend or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
then you make a deal. Like, look, I can do this for $5,000.
It's a safe way
It's just-
to
yeah.
get money, and the men.
It's safe, but someone's going to get murdered.
They
soon.
are. Men are
There's no
paying
doubt.
for what they perceive to be exclusive or,
Yeah.
or increase access. And, it is a thing. I think that one of the most overlooked sort of cultural things that happened in the last 20 years, a lot of people give Paris Hilton and Kim credit for their sex tapes and doing all that. And they should. They changed reality TV.
Yeah.
They changed that. But I think one of the single most things that shifted the way women behave was Girls Gone Wild. And what Girls Gone Wild
100%.
did was they would roll into these small towns in the middle of nowhere
crazy.
with this bus.
Joe
And a
Francis.
girl, Joe Francis,
Crazy
He's
motherfucker.
crazy
That was a genius
motherfucker.
idea, though.
But he knew that what girls would do to, if the cameraman saw me do the right
Four
thing,
words.
I could
Show
put
us
them
your
out.
tits.
yeah. They would have to have the bus parked outside the club because the stuff that the girls wanted to do would get the club shut down.
Yeah.
And they'd have to go out there. And what Girls Gone Wild said, I'm in a Girls Gone Wild video.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a star.
It's so
it let
true.
bad behavior
Became
crossover
prestigious.
I
start.
forgot
Yeah.
that. That's a very good point. That was the beginning
Yeah.
of the debauchery where
did what?
I got my own. I'm in my own power now.
Right.
And it was in a bus, and they would go off. I mean, Joe's got stories. Oh my God, this guy. Well, now he's in prison, right? He's
No,
still,
he's
out
no,
now?
he's out.
He was in for a while.
He was in for a while.
For a
He's married. He's
while,
living in Cabo, big thing or whatever. But
Yeah,
and
Cabo,
secretly, he would throw parties. A lot of celebrities
Oh,
would go
sure.
there. Get friends with him, and all this stuff. But what it did was it started pushing the envelope where you'd go to a club, and then a girl would dance on the table because it's like, look at me, everybody wants to see me. Then she'd flash, and it would sort of escalate from there, and it was about competition between women.
Yes.
It was about validation
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
I'm hot, and
It's
that
amazing.
really
Yeah.
trickled down to sort of regular America.
It was.
You remember
You
that?
called it,
Yeah.
Brian.
It
That's
was
exactly
spring.
where
It was
started.
spring break in a van in a
It
big
was
Spring
trailer.
break in a van.
And it was amazing what he did. And you think he's sleazy, but then all these major celebrities would go, "Oh, we were in Cabo with
Jennifer
Joe's
Aniston would
house."
say at his house. I know they were friends with him. He
Girls
was
love that
very
stuff,
tight with
though.
the
They
girl.
love it.
They love it, and a
Yeah.
lot of
Love it.
women felt people were like, "Oh, he's exploiting drunk girls." These girls were dead
No,
sober.
yes.
They would line up at 6 p.m. waiting for the club to open because I want to have a
you
chance
said,
to
it's
be in a Girls Gone Wild.
competitive.
It was
Yeah.
competitive.
Women are very
it was validation.
competitive
Yeah,
with
they
each
are.
other,
But it
especially
doesn't.
when it comes to
It
looks, too.
all gets boiled down to fame. They want that moment, half hour, or them on a videotape that's sold at 1 o'clock in the morning when you can see them on the commercial. It's that bit of fame, and
I was
where
one
they
of those
go.
girls.
Did
You
do
wanted
it?
to be
You were one of
famous.
Did you do it?
Were you gonna?
I played in the
Can some-
infomercial at 1 a.m.
Can
Okay.
somebody
Every
get
night.
the Girls
What
Gone Wild
volume?
video
What tape?
out?
What
Yeah, which
volume?
one are you in?
So it was a kind of a knockoff on Girls Gone Wild. It was called Wild Party Girls.
Ooh.
It was-
Oh, poor man's Girls
Wow.
Gone
Okay, but
Wild.
it was the same concept, and they put myself and like 10 other women in a house in Palm Springs for like 3 days, and just gave us a bunch of tequila and let the
Alcohol,
cameras roll.
sure.
Yeah.
And then made their video, and this video like literally ran on infomercials like
Yeah.
all night long, and it was just every time that happens when MySpace was popular, like I get like a
MySpace.
MySpace
Yeah.
message, it's like I saw you
You
on the
know, yeah,
infomercial.
follow-
Did you
last
get
night."
paid from that?
I got $1,000.
Do you have the video? Like you fire it up every once in a
I
while?
don't
like
have it.
When your kids are crying?
Throw it up
like-
on your
I
Instagram.
know it exists somewhere,
Yeah.
and I might never be able to run for public office because of that video.
No. Well, you know what?
I would-
Melania was in Penthouse or whatever the fuck. She's up there making
Yeah.
speeches. She's doing fine. You know what? Imagine being a dad watching late night TV.
And
Your
seeing your
daughter's like,
daughter up
yeah,
there.
in Mexico.
I know. It's
That
crazy.
happened a
But
million
now
times.
it is,
It's worse
the
than that
women
now.
are pushing that sexual envelope in a way more than ever. Yet it's sort of the guys are sort of have to put their face up against the glass and they can't participate anymore. It's a weird, blurred
Yeah.
environment, which is fine. The women should do whatever they want
Yeah,
to do for
I'm in
whatever
favor
they're
of
raising.
it. I'm in favor
of it
More
too.
power
But
to 'em.
it's a strange time.
If you can profit
know?
off your sexuality, I have no problem with it at all. I don't. Unless you're my daughter, then I'm gonna. That's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
But I understand why they. I didn't see this in New York, but I see it in L.A. I come to L.A. and all of a sudden, like I know, like playmates who have no husband or boyfriend. They have a kid, maybe 7 or 8 years old. They don't work. Beautiful home. I see pictures of them in different parts of the world. They have no job, and yet they're everywhere. And you go, where's this money? I know they're sugar daddies, but OnlyFans has become the thing they can do without having to date the 68-year-old guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's
Fuck
what it
him
was when
once
I
a
lived
month.
in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the sugar daddy.
There's always
Yeah.
that
They were
guy.
everywhere.
Sugar daddy.
They were in Cabo. They
Right.
were all, every time you
Right.
turn around,
The
there was
guys who
something.
take the pictures of them
Yeah.
in, Sardinia. They're not,
Exactly.
yeah, those guys.
As I've always said, doggy style, they're all Brad Pitt. And a lot of women think that way.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't like any of these
No,
guys.
of course
Give
not.
me the guy who's going to pay me, and
Yeah.
I'll keep the lights off for an
Yeah.
hour and a half and do that. That's part of it. Now, your fame is a bitch.
Yes.
Why do people want fame so badly? The old Steve Martin
God.
line, you want to be rich and famous? Try rich first and see
Yeah,
how that feels.
that was a great line.
But fame, what is it that
They
drives
don't know.
us for
They
fame?
don't. They don't know because if they knew about it, if they had a taste of it, and then and knew what it felt to lose it. It's tough to lose fame, any type of it. I'm not talking about you showed your tits for a weekend. When you have an amount of fame and it goes away, nothing in life prepares you for it. It might sound trite to say it hurts, but it does. It's like everything you could do is just gone. And that's what happens in LA. The table isn't there anymore. The doors aren't open. And I went through a depression. I had 2 shows that were well, and boom, it was over. And this can't. You know, when you pick the phone to make sure the phone's working, not the cell, the rotary. Maybe I didn't pay the bill. No, it's fucking working. No one's calling me. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling. But it's enough fun that you want to chase it again.
It's an addictive drug.
It's very addictive.
Yeah, man.
It's
the greatest drug.
And to bring it back to politics, a lot of the people, you lose work now over your political affiliation.
Boy, sure.
Or you take a lot of shit, or, your social media gets, sort of this cast of characters that likes Trump. I'm not saying they're worse for liking Trump or not liking Trump. It's sort of guys like James Woods and who are very out front with it, and Antonio Sabato, Scott Baio. Like, you can sort of list the ones who are out there publicly with their support of Trump, because the backlash it's risky.
It's risky, but I'd rather be me and like Trump, because the other team, the shit they say. A couple of nights ago, I know a girl, I'm not going to mention her name. She's a mainstream media reporter.
I'm not going to mention her name. What do you do? Your whole life's mentioning names.
Lisa DiPaolo.
There you go.
She's not someone there right now. But she's been writing for newspapers and magazines for years, and her feed the other night was, oh, look at this whore. Melania looks like a whore. Where'd they get these stupid black people? The things she was saying, boom, 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 boom. You can't talk that way. If the right side did that, it would be cancel culture. Look at Michael Rappaport last night. Bette Midler, get this fucking pig out of here. She's fuck this bitch. What?
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
And I can't say Joe Biden needs a diaper. How dare you? Go fuck yourself. It's so one-sided. And that's why Trump's going to win again. Because they're coming out in droves being assholes publicly, and that's going to make him win. It's so simple to see.
Do you think he's going to win?
100%.
Not even close.
I agree. I have to agree.
Not even close. You think he's going to win not even close, or
not even close?
I'll tell you something.
I think
Don Lemon last night
came on, and this tells you a lot.
Yes.
Anytime he goes on CNN, I can't stand him.
Yeah.
But he goes on CNN saying, we need to chill out with these riots.
Yes.
This is not helping our cause here. You know what I'm saying? All this is doing is pushing
he just
people
flat out
who
said
might be in the
this
middle.
hurts the polling.
If you're in the middle and you really don't know what to think, you can't turn on the TV every night watching TV cities burning.
They've been their own worst enemy
in
this year. The Democrats have been.
Or talking recklessly, like you said, because it's bullying almost.
It is bullying.
They're the ones all against bullying.
They're against it, but they do it.
Most Democrats, or a lot of people, pre-COVID had sort of resigned themselves to the fact that Trump was going to win again. And he probably was definitely going to win again then. Like, before that, they're like, we just didn't get it together.
Right.
And they thought, like, we'll just deal with it and ride it out 4 more years or whatever. COVID made everything back in play that they could win.
It reset everything.
And it did. And then it seemed a foregone conclusion that Biden was going to win. And it's celebrating a little too early, and now it's going backwards again.
I think he's going to lose the popular vote by 5 million, more than he lost with Hillary, and still win the electoral.
Right. And then what
They're
happens?
going to go ballistic.
They're going to lose their
He's
mind.
not the president. Then they're going to complain that the mail-in ballots were
I think
wrong.
Hillary Clinton recently came out and
She's
said
so mad still.
if Biden loses, he's got to contest it.
Yes.
Why would you say that
I
already?
know. Well,
He's
yeah.
got to contest it if he loses.
Right.
Well, Trump-
because they've asked Trump a lot of times.
To respect, if you
respect
lose,
the result.
Respect the results.
Hillary didn't respect the result. The Democrats didn't respect. Again,
Still have.
No one respects it after we saw 4 years ago.
And I think they did. Well, let me ask you about 4 years ago. I believe that he believed he would win the popular vote and lose the election, and he could have made a lot of money off that.
Exactly. I thought he would start his own television network or something like that.
And he thought that.
I think so. I think when he won, it was shocking, and then he got on his horse and figured out how to do it. But everybody thought they've got this. I didn't. I thought he'd win, but he didn't think so. I'm pretty sure about that. Now I think he was scared because the pandemic and then the mail-in situation. That's terrifying. This is going to be
He's right.
so bad and sloppy that we're not going to know on November 4th who
No,
won.
it might
We're
take
not,
a month or 2 months
and
to
they're
figure
going to
this
go
thing
get
out.
the National Guard
gonna-
in, get him removed. It's going to be so ugly.
Yeah, it's an angry time here. What do you think? How has he disappointed you? What did you think he should have done or could have done better over the last 4 years?
I'd like to have seen more of the wall built. I'm not sure that's his fault, but
What can he do?
And he gets pushed back on everything. There's never been a president that has not had any kind of help across the aisle like this guy. So everything he's done, I've liked, even the things that don't benefit me. But I guess I'd like less Twitter kind of shit. The wall I would have liked. There's not many things that I go, damn it, he didn't do that. There really isn't.
Why do you think he can't stop tweeting? Because he
has to tweet.
believes
He has
that
to tweet.
he's right and his
such an
instincts are
egomaniac.
right?
He's such an egomaniac. Yes, he's always a gut guy. Egomaniac, number one. But number two, if Twitter wasn't around, he would not. I don't know what the fuck he'd do because he
How
has
can
to
he
get
to
his
base?
message
He
out.
can't get his message
the
out.
only way he can do it, and I think it's fascinating. And the next president's not going to use it like he used it. I can't imagine Kamala or whoever might win down there.
Pence.
They don't have that power.
Yeah.
They didn't have a reality show for how many years with millions of people watching. It's a very different dynamic. No one's ever had this before. But I love his attitude. The biggest thing I like is he gave America our balls back. I thought Obama chopped them off. We were apology nation, bowing to fucking Muslims. I didn't like all that shit, man. Letting the Iranian Navy put guns to our... No, that ain't fucking America. Now it feels like, fuck you, we're going to kill you. We're going to shoot you. Don't fuck around with America. And I think we got a lot of respect back. I know people hate that, but I like it.
I asked this on a prior podcast. I asked London this. If he wins, do you think that he gets some validation and he tries to work with everybody, or he's like scorched earth? I'm going to crush my enemies.
I don't think there's a soft side to him like that. I think he's such a winner. He's such a counterpuncher. I don't know him to take the foot off the gas ever.
And the one thing I will give him a lot of credit for, he has absolutely no fear of sitting down for an interview or facing the press every day. And a lot of times they back, like David Muir, you get your shot and you don't have the balls to do it.
Trump's
and
a
he
boss.
Knows a
He's
lot
a boss.
That's
Bottom line.
right.
No,
a lot of
really
in a
is.
room full of
He's an alpha.
guys.
Yeah.
He is. He has no fear of those questions. He'll just be like, "Fuck you, you're stupid."
Let me ask you a question as a woman, girl, whatever we say.
What do you want to be called?
I don't care. Whatever.
Woman.
The older they are, the more likely they want to girl.
Don't say lady.
65-year-old wants girl.
Girl?
Come here,
That's
girls.
nice. Yeah, that's
23-year-olds
Just
are
not
like,
ma'am.
I'm
no,
a woman.
Ma'am.
Not ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything inside you that, or any woman, I think women at their core like a man who's an alpha. Forget about how he looks. Forget about the orange skin, all that bullshit. I think at their core, women go, that's a real man. He went in, he's got a beautiful fucking knockout wife. He comes in the room, kicks over the table, gets shit done. I feel safe. That's the kind of guy that a woman likes. That's the way I feel. They may not say it, but I think deep down they know this is a man.
Yeah.
Obama, very smooth guy, very good talker.
Beta. He's a beta. Bottom line.
I mean,
I've
if I
never
had to
saw
choose,
anything.
I'm
I
an
understand.
Obama fan.
I understand.
But what are you choosing for?
I get it.
I've said this. If you gave most women
But I don't understand what you're saying.
from
I
1
get
to
it.
10 on the alpha beta scale, and 1 is he has an "I'm with her" bumper sticker on the car. He is at the Women's March. He is wokier than woke.
Pussy hat.
And 10 is a knuckle dragging
Male feminists,
caveman.
they call these guys now. Male feminists.
Most women
Male
want between a 7 and an 8.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
fair?
we definitely want more towards the alpha male side. I mean, at least I can speak for myself personally. But I think, definitely compassion is very attractive too. So
I also know personally.
That's true. Compassion.
compassion.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I
Who
never,
knew?
I never thought about that.
Compassion was attractive. We didn't know that.
Sincerity's nice. Compassion. Yeah.
But with the people are like, how could women support Trump? Because there still are a lot of them, and a lot of we don't see them in Los Angeles, but you travel the rest of the country. You go
Well,
to
that's how
Atlanta.
he won.
You see
Remember,
a lot
Hillary
of them.
said she got
a
sold
lot
out
of
by
the
the women. That's how,
whether I agree with them or not, I appreciate the balls.
That's really what I like the most too. I like
Yeah.
the balls, and I think women like. First of all, I got nervous when the rioting started because I could sense that women around the country didn't feel safe, and when women don't feel safe, you're going to lose an election. But I think now they're starting to see, look, it ain't me. It's
Right.
these fucking Democratic leaders that are doing this. I want to go in there with the National Guard and knock them out. I'll do it in an hour. I'm ready, and I think they know that. I think he's winning them back, but I think at their core they want a guy that they know is gonna.
No,
pardon
What
me.
they say in the
Go
core,
ahead.
women at their core,
Yeah.
safety and security.
Safety and security.
They may
is
never
huge.
say it. They
Right.
may never
Oh,
express
for
it. But
that
deep
reason,
down
that is
inside,
the number one thing deterring me from wanting to vote Democrat this year is
There you go.
the riots. That's bottom line. I am not about violence. I am not about feeling unsafe. I hate seeing what's going on in these cities. You know, it just I cannot get with that. I
Now,
can't. So
Right.
that being said, I think the Republican Party knows that. I think that they do not have any problem devoting some resources to stirring that shit
Sure.
and making it look like it's the Democrats doing
well,
it.
they don't have to do it. Listen, someone said, I was watching Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I
the
don't
other
think
day.
they have to do it.
Ben
It's already
Shapiro
being done,
said, because he
right?
was showing all the riots in Wisconsin, he said all the Republicans have to do is do a live feed.
Yeah.
Show that the Republican National.
Yeah,
Don't even
exactly.
say a word.
Right,
Just
let
but
them just torch it.
I
you
mean,
know?
fund the protests.
Then
I
what?
mean
Yeah,
that.
I
I
mean,
mean,
you think that- you think that's
I think
happening?
Come on, Brian.
I think it happens both ways.
I don't.
on.
Not
I
on-
think it happens. But
No.
they always say on the Soros,
Soros,
side he's
yes.
doing that.
They
I'm
don't need
sure.
it. Soros can do it on his own.
Yes.
Soros has got plenty.
I'm sure, knowing that if some more shit like goes that and scares white middle America, I don't think it's beyond Mitch McConnell to write a check.
I mean, it's certainly
yeah, I don't
understandable.
think they have to pay though. That's the thing. I think they're already doing it on their
Yeah.
own.
Some of these kids, you don't have to even pay.
I mean, look
you
at
know?
the Pacific Northwest. It's like
Oh God.
it's like a 0.02% black population for the whole region, not just
Right.
Portland, Seattle, but overall. And they're losing their minds more than anybody. I mean, these are like white liberals going crazy.
Did you
So-
see the kid who shot the kid? They found him in a picture at the front row of a Trump rally.
Yeah.
No. What's this?
I don't know. Is this they're going to try to say this kid's a Trump guy, and of course
Oh, they
he's a
love to say someone's alt
I don't
right.
know how they
Oh, the one that happened
right.
today.
But this is a
That-
peaceful protest.
you have
Yeah,
a,
it was last night.
Mixed child.
Yes, I do.
What's the conversation that you're having in
Well,
home?
the conversation when he was younger, I was very much like, when he was 18 or so, he's 30 now. But I'm like, look, you're with three friends that are black. You're in a white Camaro. Your seats are back. The bass is pumping. You're 0 for 4. One wrong move, and someone's getting shot. So,
Oh, that is the checklist.
right, as a wife, I've had those conversations that black fathers have with their kids. It's scary. You hold your breath for a few years, and now it's fine. He's got a girlfriend who's mixed as well, and she is pro left everything. It's very hard when we get together for me not to open my mouth and go, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're fucking young. You have no idea." But I go, "No." So it doesn't come
Might
up.
be the mother of your grandchildren.
And my son said, like I did, it'd be nice if there was a thing they could do, cops, before they kill someone. And frankly, I don't want to get into it with him because I don't want to have that throw your hands up in the air and have a big fight with your son. I don't want to do it. So we kind of avoid it, and that's what saves the house when he visits, because it could be ugly because he's got mostly black friends and a mixed girlfriend, and that's the way he leans and thinks.
But these are conversations that you didn't really have to have for a lot of time?
No, I didn't have to. When he was younger, it just was nerve-wracking because, they're smoking weed, there's 4 black kids in a white car, they're speeding, like most parents, except mine was mixed, and he looks like Smokey Robinson, so he doesn't look menacing. But the point is,
Lionel Richie.
yeah, he's like one of those guys.
Sorry, Smokey. Smokey's a little beta.
Good-looking guy, very good-looking, green eyes. Not like a big old dude. Like then I'd be like, "Fuck, you're gonna get shot." But no, we didn't have too many of those talks. He's a good kid. I didn't want to. I'm not trying to say I had a kid who's always in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good kid. But I steer away from the political talk now. Like if I wanted to bring up tonight, if he came over, I'd say, "Do you believe this fucking NBA games are postponed? Do you believe this bullshit?" He's not a guy that likes to argue, so he'd probably just go, stupid.
Well,
but I'm sure he has an opinion about it.
You bring up the NBA guys. The NBA guys were certainly quiet about China, and their rights in Hong Kong. And there's a lot of things they can do. The one thing they can do is play the games and give the money to the
Wouldn't that be
cause.
great?
Like,
Yeah.
why can't you do that? Like, put the money out
guys
there.
are so
Don't just be like,
small-minded.
I'll go
It's
back
amazing.
to my
Yeah.
mansion and I'll go back and do that. One thing I want to bring up with you, because I'm in the same boat. I'm from New York. I lived there a long, long time, and then I moved to Los Angeles
over.
for a
It's
long.
done.
I believe
It's
is.
done.
So my
New York's
friend James Altucher, who I know really, really well, wrote a column
Yeah.
that got all over the place. I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think it's sad to see, but the things that were pointed out about New York, and you brought up that you like felt because you weren't from there. I have to go live there for a little bit of time to experience it. I think a lot of us cling to the New York of a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And you're putting up with a lot of shit just to say, I got an omelet at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
Like, you know?
Well, the 90s,
The 90s
were
were
so amazing.
Were amazing.
1998 peak Giuliani, New York City.
Beautiful.
When you were running
Love
the
it,
town.
love it.
And you were the king of Bowery Bar.
Yeah, that was
getting in
it.
fights with Mickey Rourke and running the whole crowd down there.
I had a ball.
That was Odeon. and
Yeah,
all
that was all that shit.
That
Odeon.
was the time.
I was New York 89 to 99. That's a good 10-year run in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived there my whole life, but that's when I had my column. That's when shit was stirring. The thing is, though...
And I would find out where to go because I would read his column. I'm like, oh, AJ knows where to go.
The only good thing that's going to happen is when I was a kid in the 70s, New York was so petrifying and scary with guys with needles in their arm and the Bowery. We would go see...
Coming back.
Well, that's the thing. I was so entranced by seeing hookers down the like The Walking Dead, hookers just down the street, and this is pre-AIDS, so high school kids would go there to get a blowjob, and it was like a big thing. It was a rite of passage.
Right.
That's the fact that it's so bad again, it's gonna have guys like me and other guys want to go there, and maybe they'll be able to get it back on its feet. Because for a while, no one went to New York in the 60s and 70s. It was petrifying.
Right. And, people look at Giuliani now and he's a punchline
He
and
was
they say all
amazing.
that, but he was amazing. And the thing that he did, like Dinkins, New York City was a wreck. And Giuliani came in, and the first things he did were these things that you weren't think were significant, but he got rid of the squeegee guys.
Broken
and he
windows.
closed a lot of the pawn shops. I lived in that neighborhood. He closed a lot of the porn shops
the
and all
porn
that. He cleaned up
shows,
Yeah.
peep shows, man.
and what he
shows.
did, and so he thought that there's that sort of theory, the broken window theory, that once
Right.
you allow
So
the
great.
One broken window,
It
the
changes
neighborhood
everything.
go to
Changes
shit.
everything.
Now, what has happened to Los Angeles is Los Angeles is like,
God.
we can't make any money from paying, arresting people for that or fines or anything like that. So we're just going to let it go. And the more they let it go, there's very few flat surfaces in Los Angeles anymore without graffiti on them.
Yeah.
There's still a lot. There's
Trashed.
homeless people
It's amazing.
anywhere. They're like,
God.
we're not going to focus on the
amazing.
little things. I think that's wrong.
That's a big mistake.
amazing.
That's how it begins. The little things is what begins it all. It's now that I've been in LA for 20-something years, and I had a ball in LA in the early 2000s. It was phenomenal. Gone. It's also gone because now there's no television production, movie production. That's not happening. So
It's going
what
to
do you
Atlanta.
have?
No reason
Tyler
to be here.
Perry's ruling the
Yeah,
world.
go
Yeah.
see Tyler.
Yep.
There's nothing happening in LA
Atlanta.
right now.
Where, how much of your fun times, we're in Vegas doing this show, how much of your fun was in Vegas during the day?
I would travel here quite a bit, and then when I did high stakes poker, I came to Vegas quite a bit, and that had a little cachet for me. I had a billboard up there with a bunch of the poker players. I love Vegas. It was always a great getaway for a night or two. More than two when you come back with a major drug problem.
Yeah, a night or two.
A couple of hookers you forgot to, it was very nasty. But yeah, I like that. I love danger. That's
Couple
why,
of hookers, not just
well,
one.
no, one is just easy,
Anybody could do one.
I went, one quick story. My buddy and I went to Caesar's one night. Chico, he's dead because he lived like an animal. And we had won some money gambling, and I went out with some chick, and I came back, and he had like $3,000. And he came back, he goes, I got to go to the tables again. You got any money? I said, what happened to $3,000? He goes, you know how much it costs to get 3 hookers up here and eat shrimp out of their ass? I can't top. That's
Oh
That's
my
true.
God.
Now, and
That's a true Hollywood story.
Vegas has had many, many phases. There was a time after the
Wow.
recession when there was just cranes sitting here, and it was
yeah.
it's come up and down, up and down. What do you consider to be, and hopefully this will be in the future again, but when do you consider to be peak Vegas? When was when it was the
Yeah.
people working the line at Pure making 100,000
Was
a
it
night?
Yeah, I
AM's
mean-
when AM was
Yeah,
out
it was
here?
definitely
AM?
like 2006,
Oh,
2007
wow.
was
Yeah.
that was the peak for industry people as far as like making a lot of money, and it's just being, you could easily tell someone a table is a 10K minimum with a $500 handshake and no one would even blink at it. And there's doormen who got their pockets like altered.
Oh my God.
Down to like their ankles almost,
Yeah.
like could stuff all the cash in there because
Holy
it
shit.
was just ridiculous. But then there was like the Rays of Pure nightclub, and
Bottle service changed a lot, right?
Yeah,
Bottle
yeah.
service
How did
and
the
And then
EDM scene
the IRS killed Vegas because they killed that scene.
Well, it definitely changed. The IRS came in, and everyone kind of just started,
the IRS killed Studio 54.
yeah,
you know?
it's just, everyone had to get their tips taxed and all. It was just wild, wild west before
How did
then.
the EDM scene change things? Did it? I mean,
So,
from the AM.
Yeah, I would say there's kind of three different phases. I mean, that was when everyone was just balling out and making money. And then, like, in 2008, when the economy crashed, everything kind of started going towards, like, the industry. So, then all of a sudden all the locals, like, became the celebrities. And we started, instead of paying Paris Hilton $20,000, $30,000 to come, it was like, all right, we're going to pay, whoever brings the most chicks to the club tonight wins $20,000. And we're going to give everyone hotel rooms and just to get all the locals to come party. And then I think,
Chicks is the term, apparently.
There you go.
Say
Why did we forget
We
chicks?
didn't know. Forget chicks.
Yeah,
Damn
some
it.
of the parties we did, it was just like, shake what your mama gave you, best ass contest. It was
Run by women.
We did Butterface. It's like we had a
Butterface.
billboard
Oh,
and
my
every
God.
girl's bags over girls' heads, and it was
Oh.
like you had to judge the girl on their body, and then the girl had to reveal.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So we had
Oh,
these
no.
crazy ass parties, and then when all the sexual harassment shit came out and took down the industry that way,
pesky sexual harassment
God damn
shit.
it.
an EDM DJ on a billboard was safe. So it's like, okay, we're
So
not
that became the new
promoting
move.
girls and half naked, chicks anymore, and we're not, and being celebrities is done, but we can pay this DJ to come and play and sell
$100,000
tickets.
DJ,
And,
that- I never
yeah.
understood
And then
that.
$200K
that got-
for an hour
That's
set?
insane.
How-
That's
The
That's
day
crazy.
clubs hurt the nightclubs, or the day clubs were so big
Cascade
it didn't
was getting
matter?
paid.
What are
I
the day
think
clubs?
I think
What's
the
a
day
day
clubs
club?
hurt
Like
the
the
after
pool
hours.
parties.
Oh, that's
like
like
rehab.
rehab.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they killed the after hour scene because it used to be you could
Oh,
party
yeah.
at the club and then go all night
Mm-hmm.
until like 8, 9 in the morning. But now you're at the pool starting at noon and you're
Yeah.
done by like 2 or 3.
Or people don't want to
Right.
go out
So,
the night
yeah.
before because they wanted to get online to get the spot at the pool.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I always wanted to know how it evolved. You just explained it. So
Yeah,
that's
I was
kinda
curious.
cool,
Like,
yeah.
and I remember, like, people were making so much money,
So much money.
and so much of it was untaxed that eventually the
It's-
government's going to come in and say we're
But
going to kill the fun.
Yeah.
No
they
one
did.
ever made more money than the mafia. Could you imagine that every casino at one point would accept any casino's chips? The type of money
The
laundering
way
that went
country
on?
clubs used to do
Any
interclubs.
hotel, there weren't as many hotels as
Yeah.
there are now, casinos, but every casino, it was just a big bank for the mafia. They just cleaned money. You could take your winnings from here and put it there. Any chip was good anywhere. And then when they changed that, I mean, major mafioso, the clubs.
When was this? This Sinatra
60,
era?
a little
Or-
after that,
Okay.
but yeah, but his era. But even in the 60s and 70s,
Okay.
you could change a chip, change thousands of dollars anywhere. A lot of money laundering went on with a lot of nightclubs and stuff. It's not as easy to do that now.
Is Steve Wynn, who's responsible for a lot of the current incarnation of this town, is he persona non grata around here now because of what happened?
He got Me Too,
Or,
yeah.
or
Yeah,
he got
he's
Me
got-
Too?
he's a-
Or,
Yeah, Me Too.
Right?
or
I
can
don't know.
he walk into any place and get a standing ovation?
I haven't really heard much.
I don't hear much about
Yeah.
it.
I don't
I
either.
don't know.
Maybe I mean he's older and his
Yeah.
health was going,
Yeah.
but he built this
I mean,
town
it's
and this
pretty
town
sad what
turned on
happened
him.
to
I
Yeah.
said, look, any white man who was born 1962 or earlier, I said this in 2017, you're done. If you're powerful and you were born before 62 and you made money and you had a lot of women, you're going to get found, caught. It's over. The jig is
It
up.
was a different time.
Yeah.
I used to have this agent in LA, and we'd go out to lunch, and he was an older guy who
Yeah.
was a little beyond his power, which is why he was my agent. And we'd be at lunch, and the waitress would come over and say, "Can I get you guys anything to drink?" And he'd be like, "You ever been with a woman?"
Oh,
And it was
I know.
a standard
Wow.
talk.
Course,
It
of
was
course.
just a different time. And
Different
these
era.
guys didn't, again, whatever disclaimers we have to give, they didn't know it was different. These, when you talk about the early 70s rock stars, they were all trying to bang each other's 14-year-old
Oh, my God.
daughters.
Yeah.
Like it was competitive and it was cool.
And the
like
girls wanted to be de-virginized
They
at
did.
15 by
Kinda
Mick
crazy,
Jagger or Bowie or whoever.
Jackson Brown or
Yeah,
whatever
it
one you
didn't
wanted.
matter,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't matter. It was a different time. So these guys got brought down by a different time.
Right.
And again,
Culture changes.
Rap,
Culture-
rap hasn't happened in rap.
Listen, this is why I question the Me Too movement. I had a conversation with Giovanni about this. And I said, okay.
Political Junkies
yeah,
fully supports the Me Too movement.
Okay, the Me Too movement, right?
Okay.
They're taking down all these characters.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with hip hop?
No,
Look, I've been
I know.
involved in hip hop for years. These guys have used, abused, gone through,
Yeah.
burned through woman after woman, girl after girl,
Crazy.
anything and everything. Where I don't see any of these women coming out of the woodwork.
None.
I don't see. And they
And you can
I know
say
guys
everything.
have done things
What
that
did-
make Bill Cosby look
I
like
know.
a joke.
I know.
Like a joke.
I ran
Harvey
with,
Weinstein like a joke.
I ran with Tupac
A joke.
in '94. I was at the club the night that girl blew him on the dance floor at Nell's nightclub, and later on that night they went to the hotel, and he had his boys, go have fun with her. And she decided to get up and and make a big thing and get Tupac in a lot of trouble.
Right.
He didn't do anything. He didn't want to be with her. So the guys came in, and that didn't.
I
sit
think
right.
on the
But-
list of things, for example, Snoop Dogg said something about Gayle King a few months ago.
Yeah.
That people are like, on the list of all the stuff Snoop Dogg does, that's fairly minor.
He was a pimp.
A lot of the black
Pimping
power
girls.
figures get a pass. I mean, the fact that in 2020,
I think it's
Al
done on purpose. I'm
Sharpton is
political.
still
I'm a conspiracy theorist.
major figure. Like, how do you feel about Al Sharpton still
That-
being a
Come
prominent figure?
Him, Jesse. I'm
Race-
sick of all
They
race
still get the
baiting.
pulpit.
these.
They make so
cult-
much money on race baiting. It's unbelievable.
It's embarrassing that people still even listen to these guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where
it's
is the next
embarrassing.
generation of leadership? It can't
There
be
is none.
Sean King.
It better
That's
not be
what
Sean- I was gonna say
that's
that.
one of the
Better not be
problems,
Sean King.
Brian. That's in the black. There's a vacuum. There's no leadership.
But you have guys
except
like
for LeBron
Jay-Z.
James and Jay-Z. You got celebrities
But they don't-
being
they
the
don't
leaders.
Was
do the right
Nipsey
thing.
Hussle somebody that
Oh.
could have
Nipsey
gone there?
Hussle, he did some things.
I
Decent
think
guy.
Nipsey
Decent
Hussle would have
guy.
done
I
think
phenomenal
he did
things.
some
for
positive
his
Except,
things.
life.
except
But
he
the
was
pro-
still gangbanging
He
and he was
was.
ratting. And the reason he got killed is there were papers on him and he was ratting on the guy that shot him. So
Yeah.
we make him out to be these wonderful people, but he's still in the gang life. That's his prerogative. But we can't make them out to be martyrs because he opened up a fucking shoe store.
It's kind of like what Tito said
On
before.
Crenshaw.
You know, we can't call a spade now. It's like we
Careful
gotta
with that
give,
word.
Yeah,
we
careful.
kinda-
You can
Yeah,
say
can't
that. I
say
can't
spade
say
at
that.
all.
Wow,
You
you
can
can't
say
say
well,
spade?
Well, no. Unless you're talking about a shovel.
Is it that bad?
It's on cards.
Cards. Yeah,
Can't
you
say
can say
that.
that.
there.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
say chip.
Yeah, what you
apparently,
call
though.
you can't say to a spade. You got to say two. It's the black thing that looks like a shovel.
It's ridiculous.
All right, we're gonna do what we call quick fixes on here. So you got
Oh,
some
boy.
quick hit for you. I was wrong about what? Something that you
Jesus.
were saying. Like I thought that and I was wrong.
Let me go.
My
let me-
prediction
I don't
was
want to go
wrong.
first. Hold on, I was wrong about this. I should. I was wrong about.
Believe me, I gotta
prediction.
think about it
Yeah,
now.
it can be a prediction. It could be somebody you
Okay.
liked, somebody you didn't, somebody you thought was going to be a big star. Anything.
Oh God, I can't. This is putting me. I wish I would have done it ahead of time. I would've-
No, that it's no fun.
I
You're
was
gonna go
wrong.
scripted.
I know. I just want to be ready. I was wrong about. I'm wrong about a lot of
do you want
things.
it? Okay.
Give me 1 minute. I'll get it.
All right, we're going to come back to you. We're going to go this way.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I was wrong about Disney buying Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy has trashed George Lucas' legacy.
Oh, you
And
thought it
there's
was a
huge
bad move?
Well, in the beginning, I thought it was a good move. George Lucas,
Yeah.
turned his legacy over to Disney.
Oh, yes.
They would be a great company to have it and develop new stories and
Yeah.
take it into the future. They've destroyed
Yes, they have.
Star Wars.
They did.
I have not seen a Star Wars since that trash, The Last Jedi.
Right.
And I know millions of people that feel the same way. Kathleen Kennedy, one of the worst executives of all
Yeah,
time.
that's.
They're
yes,
making
that's
a
good one.
lot of money on it. We're going to come back to you.
No, go
I was
ahead.
wrong about what?
I was wrong with the mindset of voting blue no matter who for a long time. Especially now, just seeing how all these Democrat cities are ran and everything that's happening, and just being a resident here of Vegas, and how our governor is handling this pandemic, how he's handling unemployment, how he's not giving people answers, how he's being hypocritical
Trash.
about everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Trash.
it's crazy, and I'm not on the whole I'm not on the Trump train yet.
We get it. We get it.
But I'm definitely not on the pro-Democrat side right now. So it's just my eyes have been very open this year.
Good. I'm going to go back several years. I was wrong about Trump, and I'll tell you why it matters. Because I couldn't believe my girl would go with him, but then my sister took me aside and said, and it matters now. She said, AJ, look, he was 50-something, I was 35. She goes, she just had a divorce. Donald's got a lot of money. Maybe she feels safe around him, security, money. Back then, I thought it was ludicrous. Now, that's a very important part of his running, that women can feel safe and secure.
Yeah.
And I plainly didn't see that when I was a young guy.
That's a good look.
Money matters.
Absolutely.
Unless you have it.
Good
All right, another one that's not easier but different. How November 1st, where are we with COVID?
Oh, I think we're still in the same place we're in now until after the election.
So you think the election really is
Yeah,
but
I
nothing
think
will
people
be
are going to politicize everything until then.
Okay, we got a ways to go.
Yeah.
November 1st, not November 4th.
Yeah, before
November
the
1st.
election.
Yeah.
I think a number of places are still going to shut down again. We're going to go through a lot of. We got to shut down in 2 weeks. We got to shut down a month. It's going to keep happening. This is the card the Democrats have to play, the hand they have to play, and after the election, we'll see what they do. But they're going to keep playing it.
We're on straight lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going back to a lockdown.
They're going to try to go
Jesus
heavy-handed
Christ.
and go back to a harder lockdown. I think by November, they're going to use the flu. They're going to conspire with both of those of influencing each other. They're going to use fake numbers, fake statistics, get some doctors to come out and say, we got to lock this thing back down.
Yeah.
And then after the election, if he loses, I predict it's going to get worse because then they really have her. It's not going to go away. They're going to use this now to really get everybody into this new world order. That's my belief.
I think it's the October miracle cure vaccine thing that a lot of people are going to be like, I'm ready for that. It's not going to make it till November 1st. I think that one thing, and I brought this up on a prior episode that we did, I think football is going to normalize things. If football games get played and there are things in the people in the stands, that is such a
you're right.
normalization that this
Yes.
feels normal.
Sunday,
and schools will Sunday
football,
and some Saturday.
Even 20,000 people,
Right.
15,000 people would be a big difference.
I think October, I think we will have some sort of pushing from the medical community that we're here, that if America doesn't get on board, we all make fun of Russia, like nobody wants a Russian vaccine. But like I said before on here, like they put a guy in space. Maybe they have something.
Let's talk to him. There's been a few pops of new. Today they said there's an insect repellent that actually helps COVID, helps get rid of it.
Do not
This is
spray
not something,
Raid
No, it's
in
not
your-
something Trump said. I know. It's not bleach. So there are these little things popping up that people claim can help us. So you could be right.
But you're a conspiracy theorist if you think that.
Well, that's good. That's actually
Yes.
my next hit here. You were the host of Mysteries and Scandals for a long time, but give me a conspiracy theory that you actually believe.
I do believe that there is a large child sex slavery ring, and I don't think they're eating babies, but I think there's a lot of people in Hollywood that are connected to Epstein and Maxwell that have been around, and we see the pictures, what have you. Nobody wants to believe Lady Gaga and Tom Hanks. I don't buy a pedophile, but I do think there is this thing about staying younger, using the pineal gland, the adrenochrome, and I think children in different parts of the world are treated like trash in Thailand and all sorts of countries where people go to have their fun and they're just exploited and abused, and it's really bad. And I think Trump has opened the door on that.
That's a complicated one because it clearly exists in a lot of industries,
Well,
in a
has
lot
he
of
blown up
worlds in
tunnels? Has he
power.
blown up? That's a better one. There's a big thing that he's blowing up tunnels around the world, around the country. These little earthquakes and stuff people thought happened were actually tunnels being blasted. I'd like to believe that. That's a great story.
Elon Musk doing shit. Conspiracy theory that you're like, you know what, that might be true.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the conspiracy theories might be true. It's like, I don't know if they are. I don't necessarily believe them, but who am I to say they're not, I guess, It's like, does anyone really know? So,
You mean like organized religion?
yeah, I mean, there's so much just crazy shit out there. I mean, obviously the Earth's not flat, but yeah, I don't think Tom Hanks is a pedophile.
No,
but with some of this QAnon stuff, I did watch the documentaries, as I'm sure most of you guys have. And yes, there was some crazy ass shit in there that I'm like, okay, there's like time travel, I don't think Trump's coming to save everybody. But there's some stuff on there like John Podesta's paintings.
See,
where you're like,
I can't
how do
explain
you
that.
explain that?
I can't explain that.
Yeah, like how does a logical person watching that and see these paintings of like children being tortured like on his wall and think that there's something okay with that and not to be questioned about it?
Yeah.
It's insane.
And also, you know what? Michelle Obama's dick. That's one that I think might be true. I hate to be that crazy. I've seen it. I've seen the bulge. What is that? It's not a tampon string. What's going on?
Okay. How do you explain photos of her when she's a little kid?
I don't see many of those. Well, I mean, I see Charlize Theron's got a little kid who's a boy. You see his penis in this little tankini she puts him in. Maybe Michelle had hers taped up. I don't think she's a guy, but I think there's something
We
to
just
be
went way
said.
out on the fringes here.
There's something to be said about the penis picture, the bulging. She definitely has masculine features. I don't think she's ugly. But there's something to it. Why does he call it Michael? What the fuck's going on?
He did call him Michael.
Several
3
times.
Is that
Okay,
true?
so
Yes.
that's the thing. I think
I got
that
the
there's
videos.
enough
Where do you guys
evidence
get
out
this
there
stuff?
to start a conspiracy. And
There's
do I think
definitely
she's a
enough.
man? No. But
Michael and I-
when people are questioning it, I'm like, okay, well, I get why you'd question it. They're like, there's no pregnancy photos. Someone told me that. And
I see that
I was about
Michelle,
to prove
you
them
do not-
wrong. I'm like Googling
I haven't
pregnancy
found
photos.
any.
I couldn't find any.
can't
There's
find
no
out.
pregnancy for you?
No, so I
can't
was
find
like,
it.
so I responded to my friend. I'm like, okay, well, I don't think she's a man, but I understand how you might think that if
Right.
there's no pictures. And people like attacked me for it.
It's
They're
a good
like,
way
you
to
think
put
she's
it.
a man? I'm like, that's absolutely not what I
Joan
said.
Rivers
But-
said it and died about a week later. Remember?
She did.
Yes, she did. You have one? You
Yep.
got a conspiracy theory?
I think there's a cabal of individuals that are working behind the scenes, clandestine, to take the United States down and to take the world down and put us into a world government.
Oh, yeah, I buy that.
Coming from where? What part of the world?
They don't come from anywhere in the world. That's why they call themselves globalists. They're internationalists. They don't have an allegiance to any one nation.
So like
they're
Soros
trying to
and
actually
people-
put together
Yeah.
a global.
So who are these people?
George Soros got to be one of them.
Soros but he's low level. He's
Really?
one of them.
Low
he's
level?
He's
Wow.
low level. The people we're talking about on a much higher level. We're talking
Wow.
about royalty, bloodlines that go back.
Rothschild kind of shit.
There
See,
you
that's
go.
what- I feel like I was
You
kinda-
did it.
I was
didn't
trying
wanna
to go
say
down that
it.
rabbit
I didn't want to
rabbit
say
hole.
it. You
It's a big
said
name.
it.
It's a big name.
I believe that MSG is really table salt, and it was a it was a racist thing by McDonald's
right.
to get people to not eat Chinese food. All right, final thought, and we've asked you this on the last one. You want the world to be better at what? Collectively, we need to be better at what?
I think about listening to people, being more compassionate for people with differences from ourselves. And that's what really bothers me about some of these liberals is they talk about compassion and acceptance, and then they're the most intolerant when somebody
Facts.
is different than them or challenges their beliefs. And I can't support that. It's very disheartening. So I think that's just really having open conversations with people and listening to different points of views is something we need to work on.
Good. We need to work on
Mine's
what?
close to that. I think we need to work on being accurate, and it's the media, politicians, and people in general. Everybody is in a rush to be first with the news, first with the picture, first with the theory. Being right, it just doesn't
door.
matter anymore. LeBron James will say shit off the cuff, and he's got 40 million
Sounds
people who
dumb
follow.
as fuck.
It's dangerous. We got to get things right. Wait a
Yeah.
week. Wait a week.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. Be better at what?
I think we need to be better at being honest, having honest discussion, honest conversation without being triggered,
Right.
without
Yep.
being angry,
Yeah.
without being, we claim we want to have a dialogue, but there's never a dialogue. There's only one side talking. There's never another side where you can actually look in the mirror and say, okay, just because this person's saying this about me doesn't mean it's not true. Maybe it's something we need to look at.
Yeah.
You're not a racist or
Yeah.
this or that just because you have an opinion
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're giving your honest opinion.
Yeah.
I can
Yep.
tell you about yourself
Right.
and everything you've done, but you can't say anything
No,
about
of
what
course-
you
of course
need
not.
to clean this
No,
up.
you can't. It's true.
Okay.
Very
Get
true.
your shit
Yeah.
together.
Very
And
true.
my thing I think we need to do better is we're using social media in a way that, no offense, parents, but your kids are boring. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I use it to try and stir conversation.
you're very good at
I
that.
like people to engage. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to post something and people are like, yay,
Yeah,
go girl,
right.
good for you, whatever. You don't have to agree with me, but I want it to
Yeah.
be a place where we learn from each other. Where you
Totally.
have to. I run things up the flagpole all the
Yeah,
time.
You're very good at this.
Thank you.
You
And-
really are.
Does it get
Great.
toxic though? Do
I
you
don't.
get-
I don't care because I don't take it personally. If it's
Okay.
toxic. A lot of people get toxic with each other, and then
Okay.
I'm like, take it somewhere else.
Right.
But I'm prepared for the toxin. But as long as some people are like, this was a good conversation to get out there, and there's certainly a lot of stuff to have.
Yeah.
I think there's some positivities come. You don't need to provide the answers, but I think there's huge value in raising the questions.
I
I
agree.
think
I
agree.
agree. It's great.
And we
Uh,
got to
as
teach
we said,
people
kind
not
of
to be butthurt so
together.
much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be so.
By the way,
fucking
this
butthurt.
just in from Adam Lieberman. The Lakers
And
and the
Clippers.
Clippers have voted to not finish the season after the Jacob Blake shooting.
Not to finish the season.
It's over.
If we had let full hoe access in the bubble, do you think they would be so ready to?
That's a huge point.
They're like,
they'd
this
have
isn't
less
fun
aggravation.
for us.
It doesn't look fun.
It doesn't look fun. They're like,
Looks
I got to
boring.
do.
I never watched one game.
They're like, I got to
Yeah.
do 3 more
Good luck.
weeks of this shit.
I don't miss
I'm
them anyway.
super
I know.
rich.
canceled my
I got
subscription.
85% of
Well,
my money.
When they were complaining about having macaroni and cheese in their room, like, oh fuck, are you kidding me?
I know. Well,
You're
that's
too
the thing.
good for that.
They got their full salary
Yeah.
for the games. The playoff money isn't that good. They're like, let's just go to the Bahamas. I'm out.
They got so much money, it doesn't matter
I
anymore.
get that you can wave the woke flag all you want in social justice. Let's see what you do with your time off if you're not playing.
That's my point.
Big time.
Pitch the podcast.
Podcast Fame is a Bitch every day on Patreon. It's free on Mondays and Fridays. And Politics is a Bitch is twice a week. It varies, but I drop 2 a week.
You want some good gossip that he bring? He dropped some nuggets.
I like
on
this
this
gossip.
the
Yeah,
other
it's
day.
fun.
Guys,
It's fun
good.
stuff.
Yeah, it's fun saying what people are afraid to say.
Hey, listen.
It's good, right?
Honesty. I love the honesty.
I like being
love
that
it.
way. I think it's
Love
fun.
it.
It's the way to
New
live.
Yorker.
Yeah.
This was fun, you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Please review Famous Bitch and Political Junkies, and we will see you next time.